Good morning to all of you. Welcome to the second part of the sessions of Android development with Kotlin. So, in previous session, we have seen how to create the list using recycler view, dynamic list using recycler view. So, in that recycler view, I had added one floating action button, and by clicking on that floating action button, one alert dialog has been displayed where the users are specifying the name of the list, and that list name has been added into the recycler view. So today we'll be looking at how to communicate between two different activities. That means once user will create a list item, then automatically it should switch to the another screen or the another activity, right? So activities are nothing but the screens in the Android application. So from the main screen it will switch to the another screen. So there will be two entry point to enter into the new activity. First entry point is when user will be clicking on the fab button and entering the name of the list item. Once he the user click on the create or tap on the create button, so automatically it will switch to the new activity. Or the user can select the name of list from the recycler view, and after selecting that name, the Android application switch to the another activity. So these are the two entry points for your Android application to switch to the new activity. So in today's session, we'll be covering how to create the another activity, as well as how to communicate between the two activities using an intent. Okay, so what is intent that we'll be looking in this session, and how to pass data between two activities or different activities. Okay, so these three things we'll be learning in this session. So let's go to the demonstration, how to communicate between activities. Okay, so I'll be sharing this video right here. So again, we'll be opening the previously created list created project, okay, in Android Studio with administrative privileges. So once it will be loaded into the Android Studio, you will be simply loading your device where you want to run your application. But here you will be adding one more activity. So by selecting our package in which everything lies, right, all KT files, Kotlin files. So by right clicking on it, going into new and selecting the activity, and you will add empty activity here, right? So we'll be adding empty activity. So here we'll be giving the name of that activity. You can change the name. The remaining other parameters are there. So list detail activity name has been given. So automatically the layout name will be assigned to that activity. Okay, so this will be your activity underscore list underscore detail dot xml file, under which you can view the layout of the newly created activity. Okay, so the activity will be created with list detail activity name, and it will be reside inside the package, that is whatever the current package that you are using for your application, and source language for that activity will be Kotlin. Okay, so after selecting these values, simply we have changed the name of the activity here. The remaining things are same. Okay, so automatically it will generate the layout file, okay, for the newly created empty activity, and the layout file name will be activity underscore list underscore detail. So whatever name that we will be assigning. So Android Studio will take care of the name assigned to the activity, and from that name, it will automatically create the layout file. Okay, so uh, 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 there is no need to bother about the what name will be assigned to this layout file. Okay, and here you can see observe one more option, that is launcher activity. So basically launcher activity is nothing but the from which screen or from which activity your Android application will start. So if you want to start your Android application from this screen or the newly created activity, then you can select this checkbox. But currently our main activity is the launcher activity, so therefore we will not be selecting this checkbox here. Okay, so after setting all these things, you can click on finish. So automatically it will create a .kt file with name this list detail activity. Okay, whatever the name given to the activity currently, with that name, it will create a Kotlin file, as well as it will create its layout file. Okay, the list underscore activity. Okay, list that layout file will be created with .xml extension. So again, you can observe whatever main activity structure was there. So same constructs are there in this newly created activity. So once this activity has been created, you can observe this most important file in any Android application development, that is nothing but the manifest file. Okay, Android manifest file. So this Android manifest file comprises three different parts. First one is the manifest tag, second one is the application, and third one is the activity tag. So inside activity tag, you can observe that this newly created activity is there, that is list detail activity that we have just created, as well as initial activity was main activity. And by using the intents, we are specifying which is the launcher activity. Okay, so from which activity your Android application will be starting. So this will be specified by using the intent filter. So the uh, this main activity is the our launcher activity. So therefore this has been specified here in this tag using the intent filter tag. So generally this manifest file is automatically created by your Android development environment. So you don't need to bother about this manifest file, and it will be, this manifest file will be specifying from how many activities are there in your Android application, as well as which is the launcher activity for your Android application. Okay, so this file will be automatically updated during the development of your application. So after this, as we seen in the previous session, we were creating or adding only the list in the recycler view, but now we want to go inside that names of the list. Okay, so that we can switch to another activity. So whenever user will be creating a list in the recycler view, so it will automatically switch to the another activity, so that the list items can be added. Okay, so what we're creating in that application, so it is nothing but the to-do list application. We have named that application as the list creator application. So whenever user will be adding any list name, so inside that list name the user can add different tasks. Okay, so inside a single list name there will be multiple tasks that will be listed up. So first activity will be displaying the available to-do list item. Okay, and when the user click on those list item, your Android application will be switching to the another activity. So just for example, user clicks on the development platform. So under that development, once the user will click on the development platform, another activity will be displayed to the user, and inside that development platform list, there may be multiple items. Okay, just for example, Android Studio, maybe your Flutter framework, maybe Visual Studio, Likewise, multiple items can be listed in that second activity as a task list. Okay. So to show that list, we'll be adding this function inside the main activity.kt file at the bottom. So we're defining this show list detail function. This is our defined function, that is user defined function. So it will be displaying the task list inside the newly created activity. So initially what we are doing, so we are using intents to pass data between the activities. Okay, so these intents are used to switch between different activities, or communicate between two different activities, or to communicate between different Android application. Okay, so here the current activity reference, that is main activity reference, has been passed here, and the main activity reference has been communicating with the newly created activity, or where we are switching. Okay. So we'll be switching from the main activity to the list detail activity, but before switching to that activity, we'll be adding some extra things here. So whatever list detail intent during when it will be switching to the this newly created activity, it will be passing one variable, sorry, constant, that is nothing but intent list key, and along with that it will transfer the list items. Okay, so by using put extra method, this constant will be referred whenever we want to refer the items from the previous activity. So likewise, two activities can communicate with each other. So this is again a user defined constant, that is intent list key. So this therefore it is displayed it in red. So we'll be adding the reference of this constant later on. But this intent is the predefined class. So it is defined inside the Android content package. So we can directly add the reference of this intent class. And after putting the all the data from the current activity inside these constants, so this constant will be used to refer the main activity when we are working in the uh, another activity, that is nothing but a list detail activity. And after putting these extra things into this constant, we can start the new activity by calling this method, that is nothing but the start activity. And the name, the reference of that activity has been passed here, so which activity is to be started. So list detail intent is referring to the list detail activity which is to be started, right? So just we'll be adding the reference of intent class here, right? So here the package will be imported, right, where this intent class has been defined inside the Android.content package. So after this, we'll be changing the constructor for task list class, okay, that we have already defined in earlier session. So this task list class will be holding the list of tasks uh, uh, which will be referred by the previously named list items. Okay, so our main activity inside recycler view, there will be multiple list items. So each list item will be referring to the multiple task. Okay, so we will be changing the constructor here so that some things should be we can pass as a parcel here. So one interface will be implemented here. So the name of that interface is nothing but the parsable. Okay, so again we'll be adding the reference of that parsable interface. Again, this parsable interface is used to Parcel the values, objects, strings, constant, or integers uh, 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 between different components, even between activities, between your different applications. So these parsable objects can be used to uh, send data between different activities. Okay, so currently here you are getting the red underline in that class name, because there are some, because this parsable interface contains some methods which is to be override. So we'll be adding the or overriding those methods in this task list class. uh, Currently our task list class is using one constructor, that is parameterized constructor, with name of the list and the task, okay, inside that list. So it is the array of task, right? But again, we are defining one more constructor here. So of task list class. So that means now task list class has two constructors. One is one constructor having two parameters, that is the name of list and the task list, and another constructor is the parsable source objects, okay, or the data. Okay, so this will be read from the initial activity. So by using this source object of parcel class, we'll be reading strings as well as reading the array list. Okay, so here you can observe that there are two exclamatory marks. So the return type of these two methods, that is read string and create string array list, are the optional. Okay, so the return types are optional here, right? Because we have seen that mm, this uh, this whatever task we are maintaining it as an array list, but those will be used in some cases as hash set. Okay, so somewhere this task list has been used as the hash set, or somewhere it is used as the array list. So therefore, this return type is optional here. So that means it will not bother about the what type of data will be written by these two functions, that is read string and the create string array list. Okay, so this is a new constructor that we have added to the task list class. Now task list class having two different constructor. So after that there are some uh, the predefined methods of this parsable interface. So first one is the describe content. So we are not using this method, so we are assigning 0. So we are override the definition of this describe content function. Another is write to parcel. Okay, so it is another method defined inside that parsable interface. Okay, so we are overriding the definition of this write to parcel function. So to write to parcel function, we are again passing two values, that is nothing but what is the destination parcel and flags. Okay, so it will indicate where to write this parcel or not, right? So in the destination parcel, whatever string uh, names are there. So here this task list constructor comprising the name of the list as well as task list. So those name and task list has been passed here. So that will be written to the current parcel, and that can be passed between activities now. Okay, so after adding this name and task list into the parcel, that can be communicated between two different activities, because currently our application having only two activities. Okay, so another thing that is added here is nothing but the companion object of that uh, parsable interface. So where we are creating the task list, and again two more function has been over right here. So first one is the create from parcel, and second one is the new array. Okay, so that, this is nothing but the source parcel. So from where it will be reading this one. So it is reading from the uh, task list constructor. So this is nothing but the task list constructor has been called here. So this constructor we have just created here with inside the task list class. So this constructor taking only one parameter, that is nothing but the source. Okay, so source is nothing but your specific activity from where this parcel will be created. So this create from parcel method has been called here, and it will be holding the reference of the task list now by using the constructor of the task list class. Okay. So another method is nothing but the new array function, okay, which is right here. So it is currently this your array list is not holding anything currently. So therefore, array of nulls has been passed there. Okay, so whatever the size of that list should be written here. Okay, in future. Okay, so after making these changes, we have simply created the parsable things, okay, which can be exchanged between different activities, okay, uh, by using intents. Okay, so here we are adding the companion object, whatever constant that we are using during the activity transitions. So here the name of that constant is intent list key, and the value of that constant is nothing but the list. Okay, so that constant will be referring to the list that will be passed between activities. Okay. So after adding that constant, we will need to add make the changes into the uh, 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 two entry points. That is nothing but first when the user will click on the create button, your application should switch to the new activity, right? And similarly, second entry point is when user clicks on the list item inside the recycler view of the main activity. Your Android application should switch to the next activity. So for that purpose, inside this save positive button, that is nothing but the dialog box create button. Uh, After that dialog dismiss, this function will be called, that is nothing but show list detail activity, and it will be simply uh, uh, switching to the list detail activity screen. Okay, so this function will get called here. So first entry point we have resolved, and secondly, in the list selection recycler view that we have created in earlier session, we need to again uh, add something here, that is nothing but the one interface. Okay, that is nothing but the list selection recycler view click listener, because first entry point we have just added when user tap on the create button, so automatically it will go to the list detail activity. Okay. But the second entry point is when user will click on the items inside the uh, list selection recycler view. Okay, so here we'll be calling the function that is list item click. Okay, so in that function again the task list will be passed. So again it is a predefined function, and we need to override the definition of that list item click function, right? So some changes to be made here, that is nothing but here this click listener is there, that is list selectioner recycler click listener, which is already available here, right? So this list selection recycler click recycler view click listener will be uh, used, and the list item click function will be called. Okay, so here will be making the changes in the on bind view holder function. So uh, in the items which are available inside the recycler view, when user click on those items inside the recycler view, the click listener will be calling this list item clicked function. Okay, so automatically this list position will be identified, so that in the new activity automatically the title of that activity should be set to the previously selected item from the recycler. So that changes we need to make now, right? So after doing these changes in the code, next thing is to uh, define this item clicked function, okay, inside the main activity, right? So in the main activity, see here we are simply again this list selection recycler view adapter class has been imported, right? Which has this interface that is nothing but list selection recycler view click listener. So whatever this interface comprises, so we need to override the definition of the function of list selection recycler view click listener interface. So here we will be adding or overriding the definition of that function, that is nothing but the list item click function. So simply whenever user will be clicking on the list item, so automatically that show list detail function will get called, which is responsible for starting a new activity, that is nothing but the list detail activity. Okay, so both entry points and has been resolved here. And one more thing that we need to update, that is nothing but the recycler view adapter, where is list selection recycler view adapter will now passing two objects, that is nothing but two values, that is the current list value and the click listener, that is the event. So that changes you have to make here. So after doing these changes, some few more things we need to add inside the this, list detail activity. So this list detail activity is nothing but your second activity. Okay, so first activity is the main activity. So now we have two different screen in our Android application. First is the main activity screen, and second one is the list detail activity. So to display the task list inside that list detail activity, currently we will not be displaying any other task inside the list detail activity, but will be uh, adding or changing the title of that activity. Okay, so what title will be set here? So whatever parsable extra items that has been passed between these activity can be accessed using the constant that we have defined, that is nothing but the intent list key constant inside the main activity. So by referring to that constant, which list item has been clicked by the user can be extracted. Okay, so inside this late initialization variable, that is list variable, which will be loaded with the currently task basically task list class has the by default constructor of the task list class has the two parameters. First one is the name of the current list item, and second parameter is the uh, array of task. Okay, referring to that list item, right? So we'll be extracting the name of the currently clicked activity by the user. So that name will be assigned to the title here. Okay. So whatever the list item that will be clicked by the user, that list item name will be assigned to the title. Okay. So this title should be set in the list detail activity, so that user will come to know that currently we had selected that atom here. Okay. So simply we'll try to run this application. So when you will execute this application after making these changes, you will observe that whenever user click on the fab button, that alert dialog box will be loaded, where you will be specifying the name of the list. So once you enter the name of list and tap on the create button, so automatically the list detail activity will be uh, loaded, okay, in the Android application. And the title given to that list detail activity will be the whatever name of list item that you have inserted. But currently that list detail activity is empty, simply the title has been displayed. Okay. And similarly, when user will come back to the previous activity, that is nothing but the main activity is holding multiple list item or whatever list item that you have created by pressing the fab button, that is floating action button. User can click on any one of those list item listed in the recycler view of main activity. So once user click on those list item, automatically again it will go to the list detail activity. Again, whatever name that you have selected from the main activities recycler view, that name will be displayed as the title of the list detail activity. Okay. So thank you for joining today's session. In next session, we'll be completing this to-do list app. That is nothing but the list creator app, so that whenever user will be clicking on the list item, the another activity will be holding one floating action button. In that another activity, that is list detail activity, you can add the task which is to be referring to the list item name of the previous activity. So that thing will be covering in the next session. So thank you for joining.